What is up, everyone? Today I'll be showcasing a solid squad for the Sunshine Cup consisting of Victini, Vigoroth and Gligar. 3 extremely flexible Pokemon in the current meta that play in basically any scenario. I managed to go 5-0 in my first set with it and 12-3 overall, so it's definitely a good line that I can recommend. Oh, and also I dropped a bunch of points on day 1 of Sunshine Cup, just trying to make a non-meta team work, especially one without Vigoroth, as I just want to avoid it at first since it's just way too good hair. It seemed kind of boring, so I ran like Credilli and some weird double fire line, and yeah, I cannot recommend it at all. I dropped like 150 points in 4 sets, and if you saw my Twitch live stream, you'd know I was pretty frustrated about that. So I ended up caving in, just running meta, and I gained all my points back pretty quickly. So the conclusion of all of this is that if you want to gain points in this format, I highly recommend just stick with the meta. They are so incredibly flexible that there's almost no reason to run anything else, to be honest. Anyway, let's get into the battle, starting off with a tough lead, Rodriguez into Victini. Rodriguez does beat both Victini and Vigoroth, so I'm gonna stay in there, throw the Vicroate, and afterwards I'm gonna switch into Gligar. This is why I really like Victini in the lead, by the way, as Vicroate is an extremely hard-hitting move, but does come with a major drawback in that every time you use it, Victini's defense drops. But you can clear this defense debuff by switching out. So because I lead Victini, I can generally just freely Vicroate whatever my opponent is leading once or twice, and then clear that debuff by switching into Vigoroth and Gligar. That means for later in the game, I have a pretty fresh Victini still to Vicroate more Pokemon. That's what you'll see me do a lot, just a lot of switches, storing energy. In this game as well, decide to store this Area Ace on my Gligar for later, just farm down the double with Vigoroth. This team is so flexible that generally you can afford to give up switch advantage like that. I am locked into the Rodriguez now, which is definitely not ideal, since it is a ghost type and I can't really farm it down with counters, but Centum is also not doing that much. I do decide I don't want to take the third one, so I'm going to throw the Body Slam here right before they can get there. And now it all comes down to what's in that back. Ends up being a Greedent. Not the best, not the worst though, as Vigoroth does match up nicely here, but all 3 of my Pokemon are in range where a single move from Greedent would knock out. Luckily I have a bunch of energy stored, throw a second Body Slam, take a shield, throw Area Ace now into the Greedent. At this point, I'm fine with just letting everything go down and putting it all on Vigoroth to counter down. This Greedent does have a good amount of energy stored though, so I'm going to decide to eat some energy on my Victini, but my opponent makes a smart move and undercharge the Crunch, leaving me alive, which would allow him to get a bunch of Mud Shots, and I didn't want to give him too much Mud Shots, so I Vicroate to drop my defense to get less Mud Shots, so the chance of them getting to 2 Body Slams here is much lower, and I can counter down with Vigoroth quite safely before they get to 2 moves. Alright, next lead is Pidgeot. Kind of awkward lead, to be honest. I go for the Overheat here straight away. Don't do this, just go for Vicroate, they always shield. Overheat is a harder hitting move, which is why I'm running it on Victini, by the way. I think Psychic is definitely a play too if you see a lot of fire types, opposing fire types, but I like Overheat. It does do a little more damage, but it was definitely not the play in this matchup, as they would have shielded Vicroate too. Anyway, I bring in Vigoroth. At this point, I'm just going to sack Vigoroth. I let the first move go, because if they want a Brave Bird there, that's fine with me, they're the buff then. If they don't, like, I can just get off a free Body Slam, basically. Now they've debuffed themselves. I go into Victini. I was considering farming down there, but I didn't want to get debuffed, so or use a shield. So I just throw the Vicroate, get rid of the Pidgeot. Out comes Steelix now. I am debuffed, so kind of got to switch into Gligar, because otherwise those Dragon Tails would do way too much. Steelix is a Pokemon you technically 3 times beat with this squad, but it's still super annoying, as both Victini and Gligar don't really have fast move pressure, and like, Steelix still can do so much work versus Vigoroth. So yeah, it's kind of an annoying Pokemon, but generally very manageable. They've debuffed me so much now. I'm actually going to switch it to Vigoroth, which I think makes this a little easier for me. I don't know. They throw a Body Slam, I still shield it. I have a Dig stored on Gligar, so I don't really have to save a shield for that, because I can just boon the CMP for Steelix. I go for Overheat, thinking it would knock out, but sadly it barely doesn't. I'm going to have to take another Body Slam here. Not ideal, but fine. At this point, the Steelix is low enough to where my Dig would knock out. So I'm just going to win CMP, Dig the Steelix, and that's another good game. Alright, next match. Gligar lead. They do get to the Area Aces the same pace as Vicroate, but the Dig is 7 wing attacks. So if they throw Dig here, just shield up every move they throw, by the way. They throw Dig, you can go for double Vicroate and then dip out. If they throw Area Ace, what I recommend you do is still build up the double Vicroate, but switch after your first one. We're gonna get into that scenario later, because if they decide to Area Ace bait, they can actually CMP Tybor your second Vicroate. If you allow that to happen, you have to double shoot your Victini, which is not ideal. But yeah, since they dig there, I could just double V-Create, switch it to my Gligar, and they have no real answer, it seems, as they bring in their double. I go for another dig. Like I said earlier, generally in this team, you're gonna want to pivot Vigoroth, but against Gligar lead, that's an exception. Rodriguez as well, you want to switch Gligar, but against basically everything else, like a Steelix or a Pidgeot, you're gonna want to bring in Vigoroth. So that's just usually the safer play. I took out the double, and now they bring in a Vigoroth. I even hit it with a dig, and this is just looking very good for me at this point. I'm gonna bring in Victini. I can get off a V-Create here, and afterwards, I'm kind of just sweep this with Vigoroth pretty much, because their Gligar is already very low as well. So I take the shield there, bring in Vigoroth. I'm just gonna let this move go. No, I shielded actually. Yeah, there's no point in letting that go. Farm down the Vigoroth. They bring in a Gligar. I can body slam it, and afterwards I should be pretty safe to just farm down the opposing Vigoroth, and that's another good game. All right, another Pidgeot lead. This time, I'm just gonna throw the V-Create. At Overheat Energy though, because that's also in the CMP tie with Brave Bird. So if they want to throw their move, that's fine with me. I'll just shield as well. Bring in Vigoroth now. I never shield her, even if they Brave Bird, that's okay, because then they're debuffed, and you know, whatever Pokemon I bring in next can get a nice farm down, but they actually Feather Dance, which is generally what happens. That's even better. They do drop my attack, which is not ideal, but afterwards they bring in Steelix, which is weird. But yeah, Steelix still so freaking good. The Bulldoze is almost nothing. And I don't really have anything to farm Steelix down with, you know? So I decide I'll just shoot my Vigoroth, even though it's so low health. I can still get off moves here. I throw the Body Slam. Kind of a mistake, to be honest. I probably should have just thrown Bulldoze, but even still, because I throw the Body Slam, they're now in a range where I can farm out with Victini, and Victini with energy is just so dangerous. I throw a V-Create onto this Gust, flying normal Pokemon. They're running double normal flyer. Oh, it's Staraptor. This can be problematic, because Aerial Ace wouldn't knock out unless I throw it right on the CMP. I decide to CMP tie with this Brave Bird. They drop their defense, and because of that, because I CP tied, they can't switch it out to cleared. So they're forced to go down to that Aerial Ace. And now I just gotta hope this Aerial Ace brings it low enough to where I can farm down. But I don't think it does. They have a bunch of energy on this Pidgeot. They're now at 100 energy, which means that if they Brave Bird here, they only need 2 more for the next Brave Bird. But luckily I was also 2 away from the V-Create, which means I win this match on the CMP tie. GG. Victini lead. If you played Victini in Psychic Cup, you've been in this plenty of times. And the play here is just to throw your V-Create last. You want them to drop their defense before you throw your V-Create. So that's what I'm doing. I'm building up the double there, waiting for them to throw. They did throw, and now I just go for a double. They caught the second on Vigoroth. I don't care. V-Create does so much. Basically always takes out the Vigoroth. Now I'm going to bring in my own. Just let this Body Slam go. I'm going to be able to farm down their Vigoroth all the way. Vigoroth with energy now, which is so dangerous for my opponent. What do they bring in? Still have 2 shields as well, so I'm looking very good there. In comes Steelix. Yeah, they didn't want to shield their Victini, so they decided to bring in Steelix because it can take a Bulldoze. Don't get to another move, that's fine. I get farmed down. Now I bring in Gligar, so I can tank these moves from Steelix, and I can dig it. Would prefer to do that over just letting my Victini getting farmed down, of course. I'll go take the Breaking Swipe. Actually, I think at this point in the match, I didn't even realize I had 2 shields. Honestly, I should have probably shielded one of these. But I thought I had 1 shield for some reason. But yeah, I just throw this dig as late as possible into the Steelix. Get rid of it. Out comes Victini. It's going to go for the dig. I'm double debuffed, but it doesn't really matter. This still does enough versus the Victini where I should be able to farm on afterwards. As you can see, it did. They let it go, thinking it was debuffed. But yeah, it's still enough. They're going to go for the V-Create, but it's too little, too late. My Victini farms down. GG. Oh, Swampert lead is a tough one. I switch into Vigoroth here. I'm going to shoot up this move as a Shadow Hydro Cannon would do a lot. This is not the worst, by the way. You might think like, oh, Gligar loses hard to this as well. It doesn't really. Gligar's a lot of play there. Opponent makes a smart move there. I really wish I threw that Body Slam into the Swampert, to be honest. That would have been nice. It would have also misaligned the timers more, but unfortunately, I just ended up catching that on Vigoroth. Probably should have thrown instantly, but I was afraid they'd catch earlier. So, you know, on like, I don't know, Ghost type or something I would have preferred to throw Bulldoze on. Anyway, I want to get energy on Gligar here. Getting energy on Gligar and getting moves ready to throw the Swampert could be huge. They don't even get to a second one. If they bring in Swampert now, should be able to pace to 2 digs before they get to double Hydro. And they try... Oh, they do a peekaboo player. They bring in Swampert, hoping an Aerial Ace probably, and then switching Steelix to catch it. Luckily, I did go for the dig. Now I'm going to catch the Breaking Swipe on Victini, as I want to keep my Gligar alive for the Swampert later. I'm going to throw this V-Create on the CMP tie. with the Steelix, expecting them to let it go. They do let it go. And now they throw their move on the overheat. And I get a massive brain fart. Massive brain fart. I shielded because I thought, oh, I have a move ready. I just overheat, switch, and dig because they're still one away from the next move. But that's so stupid because my timer isn't up. My timer isn't. I could have won that game if I just let my Victini go down. I would have outpaced them to 2 aerial aces before they got to 2 hydro cannons versus my Gligar. So I just threw that game super, super hard. Yeah, that was kind of sad. That was the game that broke my winning streak, actually. So yeah, that was pretty bad. Anyway, Gligar lead. They threw aerial ace bait. So I only threw 1 V-Create and then dipped into my Gligar. This opposing Gligar did not decide to throw their aerial ace immediately into my my Victini, so it wasn't a catch. But they still threw it into my Gligar anyway, which was nice. They bring out Steelix afterwards. A lot of teams seem to be quite weak versus Gligar, so it's really been feasting. I'll throw another dig here. It's the buffed, so it doesn't do that much. It does bring him into a nice range where I should be able to farm down with Vigoroth. Throw Breaking Swipe immediately, which is amazing, because now I don't have to worry about an Earthquake. Should be able to farm this all the way down. Bring in their own Vigoroth. I just bring in Victini. There's just a Body Slam. I can survive it. At this point, I'm just going to go for double V-Create here. Maybe I could have overfarmed and overheated. I'm not sure if this was overheat range quite yet. I think it was, though. Seeing how much damage that V-Create is, I think going for overheat would have been better. Still, this is fine. We take out the Vigoroth. Out comes Gligar. I do have energy on Vigoroth already, and 2 Body Slams should knock this out. Gonna let this move go, as it is just an aerial ace. Won't do that much. Though, maybe I should have shielded that. The Steelix doesn't have a move. And I probably could farm it down beforehand. But yeah, I still survived it. I get to another Body Slam. And now I should be able to farm down the Steelix as well. Because it is very, very low. As you can see, 2 knock it out. I survive a Dragon Tail. GG. Water Gun Swampert. I sold one of these. And yeah. Merchant Swampert is manageable. Water Gun Swampert, forget it. It's tough. It's tough. Honestly, a pretty good Pokemon in the current meta. Luckily not that common yet, but maybe it will be over the next coming days. I think it's very, very good because it only really struggles versus grasses, and I feel like grasses generally struggle in this meta. So Water Gun Swampert does look pretty solid. And it's very good into my team, sadly. I'm going to farm this Vigoroth all the way down with my Gligar at this point, as that is really my only win condition at this point. Hoping I can come out of here with a bunch of energy and a little bit of health to like triple aerial waste that Swampert. Unfortunately, they just barely get to another move here. They'll be able to Body Slam me, which even if they bring in Swampert now, I wouldn't be able to get to triple aerial waste. I'm going to be able to dig this Steelix though. Yeah, they're going to take the energy here. I thought they wouldn't shield here, so go for another dig. Because at this point, they can just Water Gun everything down, but they do shield it, which maybe gives me a chance. Nah, probably not. Probably not. The Swampert is in V-Create range though, even with attack dropped. So if I can somehow, like, oh, I do not shield this? Maybe I should have shielded that. They already threw a Hydro, right? Did they? Ah, maybe not. Maybe not. Anyway, the game was over. The game was over. I don't know what I'm talking about. This thing just freaking farms me down now. I'll go for the overheat just for fun. Maybe they let it go, but no, they don't. And sadly, I got Water Gunned all the way down by Swampert. GG. That's just not a Pokemon you'll be able to deal with in the lead. But, you know, that's fine. You can't win them all. All right. Noctowl lead. Similar strat as to Pidgeot. V-Create. Dip out. This time it's a little safer, though. As you know, you're not going to get hit by a Featherdance debuff or a Brave Bird knockout. So just let go whatever they throw. In comes Vigoroth now. Fine. Just going to be able to Body Slam this. I could consider shooting this and throw another Body Slam to knock them out, but I don't, since if they shield, I just end up getting more energy to throw my Gligar. I'd rather just bring in Gligar here, take Body Slams, farm all the way down, have a bunch of energy loaded on this thing. Also still have some energy on Victini. So we're looking okay here. I'm going to shield up this move, because I don't want my Gligar to get too low. Actually, I don't shield. Okay. Just putting it all on Victini. Alright. Alright. Yes, that's actually generally the play. What do they bring out? Let's see. Noctowl again. It's not a V-Create range quite yet, so I could consider going for the Overheat here. But I think I should just go V-Create. Because if they shield Overheat, my attack is dropped, and then Victini is basically useless. Whereas if I V-Create, pretty sure it doesn't knock out, but I should still be able to farm it down before they get to another move. And then I should come out of here with a bunch of energy to throw whatever's in the back. Ends up being 3 double kicks for each Body Slam, by the way. So I can safely get to the Overheat here, in the middle of their third double kick. At this point, I'm actually going to pause. Because if they overfarmed there, if they threw a double kick, I would have actually switched in the middle of their double kick to aerial ace it before they could get to the Body Slam. But since I threw it immediately, I could just safely bring in Gligar as well and go for double aerial ace, and they actually concede the match because they knew it was over. GG. Alright, Vigoroth in the lead. I'll just go for Vigorate here once I'm at double. And afterwards, I'll switch into my own. Since I don't want them to... Oh, actually, I double up. Okay. Actually, also makes sense. Might as well get 2 off. Shield up this first Body Slam and then switch into my Vigoroth. Now shields are down. And 1 shield up with my own Vigoroth. This is looking pretty good. I'm going to let this go. Vigoroth's just going to take this energy here. Should be able to outpace to the Body Slam here. But actually catch it on Gligar. That's fine. Getting Gligar low here will be very nice. I get to another one before they reach Aerial Ace. So I'm just going to throw it immediately. At this point, Gligar, or their Gligar, is low enough to where I can farm down with my own. And they actually have to throw a move still. So that's really nice. I'm going to bring in Gligar here. Afterwards, I don't want to risk getting hit by Aerial Ace with Victini. They were right there. And let's go my own Gligar at this point. I'm really just banking on shields up Victini most likely. What do they bring in? Steelix. Maybe I should have brought in Victini earlier. Actually, build up to a dig there and then switch to Victini. Maybe that's a bit of a mistake. Maybe I should just throw it, stay in with Gligar. I don't know. Bring in Vigoroth. I think they're like 5 away from a move. But I wasn't too sure, so I'll throw 4 just to be safe. And then throw Victini right before I can get the Water Slam. I should be able to reach another one versus Steelix. And I do, and this will definitely put him in range where a single dig from Gligar will knock out. Beat him deep into the yellow. If I have a dig stored, even if they have a move, I win CMP. And this dig should knock out the Steel Snake. And that's another GG to end the video. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Good luck with your battles, trainers.